Never underestimate the power of the Scout's Code.
Hey everyone, this is Scrap Computer here. This video is going to be a quick one covering which tops I don't think you should play until you get around mid-gold. There are not too many tops that you should generally avoid, as most of them can just run full tank and be extremely useful for their team. For these champions I have ignored them, and I've just mentioned the ones I feel are generally a little bit up there in terms of you should avoid at all costs. I'll be covering the ones I feel you should not play, so let's get into it. Rumble. He is one of the best lane bullies in the top lane hands down. His ability to harass his enemy over the lane and minions and generally snowball are huge, but this comes with a couple of risks. If he doesn't win his first all-in or dies, he can lose the lane in a single swoop, one single swoop. Rumble's damage comes from facing his enemy and normally chasing his enemy. If you can't do this and they can straight up fight you, you have to be in the defensive, and the defensive means you're turning away from your enemy. So this means your main damage source Q will not be facing towards your enemy. So when behind, you can't use this Q, hence are literally useless. Rumble works off the ability to get an early advantage and snowballing it for start game. If he can't do this, he can't really do anything mid game. His kit generally predecesses upon the fact of getting ahead. Again, if you can't face your enemy and shred them, what can you do? Use your E and what? His ultimate is also generally extremely hard to pull off. This point single-handedly is the reason I tell no one who is not gold plus even platinum to play him. Most of what Rumble is based upon is his ultimate. If you can't pull this off, he's a crap champion. As most people, even in high level, have issues with this ability, I would avoid this champion in low elo. Riven. No, everyone calm down. Yes, she is one of the best, if not the best, low elo top laner carries in the entire game, but only if you know what you're doing. Riven is based upon getting an early advantage and running, or well, mainly jumping with it. If you can't get an early kill on Riven, or hell, die, you will have a bad game. Riven with just farm or behind really sucks. There's no mid ground for this champion, either you're ahead or you're behind. She is a squishy melee assassin. If behind, she'll get bursted down, or she won't have enough damage to assassinate anything. Both of which means she's garbage. If she can't do this, what is she useful for? Basically nothing. She's just a person will have to focus and kill very quickly. In lane, if behind, you have trouble getting CS due to your lack of ranged abilities. When behind, Riven is straight up bad. Or, when doing even okay, Riven is straight up bad. If you aren't good enough to basically win every laning phase, avoid this champion like the plague and pick something that's a bit more safer or in general more useful. Fiora. Now this girl is late game unbelievable boss. She is hands down one of the best late game champions, but very susceptible to any sort of strong lane, range, harassment, all-ins. If she gets behind, she will fall off the face of Summoner's Rift. Any melee base bruiser who has no ranged ability to get CS can't do well from behind. Fiora when behind is unbelievably useless. She has no CC, no tankiness, no ranged ability to poke, no lockdown at all, only damage. If you get behind, she hasn't got enough damage to justify the pick. I mean, a champion, if they're bad when behind, it basically means they've got no CC or no tankiness, so they're not useful for the team. If a Fiora's really far behind, she jumps into the enemy team, maybe uses her ultimate and gets killed with 3 auto attacks by the AD carry. Game over. This girl gives basically nothing to her team. She's literally one of the worst champions in the game when being behind by a long shot. She has no way of getting the safe CS, so if the laner doesn't push into stalls it, he can kill them over and over again. Do not play this girl in low elo. She is hell too much of a risk for a player that simply can't minimize these. Rengar. Once again, this guy requires that early advantage. If he doesn't get an early kill or just farms his laning phase, he's gonna be extremely volatile and depending on how useful he is. Rengar needs to be ahead to get a kill on his laner. If he can't do this, he generally just isn't that useful or will fall behind. If he actually dies in the laning phase, be prepared to go -20. He is very horrible when behind as well. If he can't assassinate, he can't do anything. If he can't run in with his ultimate and kill, or at least half health the AD carry in mid lane, he is next to pointless and generally just a bad champion. He only provides limited CC and of course limited damage from when behind. Also, this champion is generally a little bit hard to pull off. If you can't use those Q auto attack resets, land the trap each time, use the ultimate and ferocity stacks with the perfect timing with the resets on top of that, this champion champion is not as easy to pull off as many people would lead you to believe. He isn't the most difficult champion, but the difference between a meh and amazing Rengar is unbelievably high. Avoid this champion top lane until you get a little bit better. Singed. Basically every single ELO except maybe high plat and diamond onwards should avoid this champion like it's on fire. Singed works off high level pressure play using proxying. At this level, people do not utilize this pressure in any way, shape or form. He generates, so he's next to useless. Singed is a pressure play, that's what he is. He'll go top lane, basically, and the jungler and the top laner and even the mid laner go for him. From there you get dragon and bot lane turret. That's how you use Singed. So if no one in that level will basically use him, so he's going to be a little bit crap. No one understands pressure theory, or not many people in these levels. Again, not insulting, I'm just saying the truth. I want these guys to win more. Without using this pressure, this champion is utter garbage. Garbage. He is horrible. He provides little CC, little pressure, his teamfighting's meh, and his kit overall is just eh. Avoid this champion at low levels and even medium play until you get very good or you're with a team. Yasuo. He's a bruiser assassin. This type of gameplay can fall behind heavily. Yasuo is a squishy assassin bruiser, again as I said. You can get smacked by any other hard tank bruiser in lane. In the top lane there's very little skill orientated champions, skill shot orientated. Most of them are on-click bruisers like Riven, Shyvana, Hecarim, Nasus, or even ability casters like Malphite, Rise after the snare, and hell even Teemo. There's not many skill shots to avoid. So what's the point? Yasuo's all about outplaying. You can't really do that if there's nothing to get away from. If he's behind, he can't assassinate or even go near his enemy, which means he can easily get pushed out of lane. Yasuo also is hard to pull off mid and late game. He needs a team with a knock-up heavily. At this lowish level of play, the chance of getting that team that will facilitate your knock-up by actually changing their picks for more knock-up is kind of low. If you don't get a knock-up, this champion is no ultimate and hence is hard to pull off. Any AD carry top. AD carry tops are amazing if played perfectly versus the right enemy with the appropriate amount of skill, but at this mediocre level of play I heavily disadvise this. If an AD carry top gets behind, they're done for. If the enemy even gets a slight all-in on you, you will lose. If you don't understand how to kite out your enemy perfectly, using your abilities in between, pushing a minion advantage, rotating around, poking out at max range, trying to pressure play start game, understanding power spikes and mobility spikes, do not even think about playing an AD carry top. If they're behind, they lose 100%, and they also need a lot of protection, so that's kind of hard. The top lane's generally the tank for the team. You can only play an AD carry top if you have a very good tank and very good disengage or tank support. Again, a very specific sort of thing, but it's important. Non-meta tops. I know this is covering an unbelievably large spectrum, but holds true. Do not play anyone that isn't strictly meta. Now, I know everyone's gonna say, meta stands for most effective tactic available. If you're playing non-meta, you're playing the opposite. So you're not playing the most effective tactic available. So you're playing the most sub tactic available, which just logically doesn't make sense. Don't play that Alistair, Bard, Heimerdinger, Kassadin, Nautilus, Nunu, AP Shaco, Talon, AD Thresh, or anything else your mind or a pro can conjure. Stick to what works, guys. Like, everyone always tries to look outside the box. The box is perfect. Like, we have a very strong set of champions. Obviously, we want diversity in our play, which is fantastic. We always get it. But if it is good, it turns into meta. That's how it works. So basically, guys, try and avoid these non-meta picks. I know I'm sounding a little bit condescending, but it's quite frustrating when I see this at very low levels of play and people just can't pull this stuff off. One last note for this, guys, is that all of these champions are, of course, totally viable, very strong champions, but at this level of play, the risks involved and the sometimes heavily mechanical set is a little bit too much and overwhelming. A lot of these champions are bad when behind. If you're not always winning your lane, that means you're meant to be in your current ELO, which means you shouldn't be risking these champions. I know someone on my stream who basically plays Yasuo, stuck in silver, still in silver after about 3 months of playing Yasuo top. No, he's a very good player with Yasuo, but doesn't understand, like, if he played, I told him to play something a little bit different, the Jax top, and he went out of control so fast, he literally single-handedly won one of our custom games. Unbelievable stuff, guys, unbelievable stuff. you have to pick the strong champions. Like, you may be a good top laner, but these champions may be holding you behind if you don't do well. If you're a good top laner, you'll be able to use almost anything. So if you can use almost anything, why not use the most effective picks? And that's it for the guide. If you like it, dislike it, dislike it. If you like the content, subscribe. Or if you think it's utter garbage, you can unsubscribe. I'm totally fair, guys. Besides this, have a great day, and as always, best of luck in the Rift.